Hey there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits, coming to you from the middle of Ohio, or southern Ohio. Hey everyone, this is Liza, and I'm still out on the road, but yeah, I am coming to you with an update of my travels, and I am currently in Athens, Ohio, at my second rally of the trip, and I am joined with the very special stunt misfit galore. I've upgraded you.
Galore, indeed.
It's Wendy Crockett.
Best kind of misfit. Hey, hey.
And joining us for the second time on the podcast,
I think at least twice, yeah.
it's Rose Lacey, Dame
Rose.
Dame Rose.
Dame Rose of San Francisco.
And we're holed up in a hotel. We're kind of recuperating a bit and plowing on. But the big news is we finished the world record.
Woohoo!
It happened. There's a lot of reasons it shouldn't have. If you're following along on social media, you'll know some of the trials and tribulations, but we got through, and the reward was we went to Vintage Days, which to me is the happiest place on earth. And we got to go up on stage and tell our story, but also we got presented with something pretty cool. Have you had a presentation like this with any of your other world records, Wendy?
Actually, the only other time I've had a presentation like that with another world record was also James from Atlas World Records at the largest group women ride in Chicago just a couple of months ago.
Yeah, so our certification was through Atlas World Records. They're like the new kids on the block who are certifying world records better than the competition. They're figuring out that they can do things better. And James was cool enough to not only follow us throughout the trip so that the certification was done by the time we finished, but to fly out to Vintage Days and brave the traffic of Vintage Days to get across there to present to us the certification on stage. And that was really cool. For me, too. I mean, to have it so quickly, like we were 2 days from ending, and to have all of our friends there and people we didn't know, but who knew of us or who were following along, people who came out just to be there when we had that. That was pretty cool, I have to say. So we did a talk on the stage. James introduced us. And we told some of the stories. So I'm going to let you guys listen to that here.
Hi, folks. How are you? My name's James Curtis, and I'm with a world record certification body called Atlas World Records. We're a new-ish world record certification company. We're quickly becoming known as America's adjudicator. Our largest competitor is London-based. And we're also a modern authority in world records. We are very forensically precise with the data that we procure and the evidence we examine. And today we have the privilege of recognizing an extraordinary achievement that combines endurance, precision, artistry, and purpose. Over the course of 24 days, Wendy Crockett and Liza Miller rode more than 13,500 miles across the United States to create a precisely coordinated GPS artwork measuring 13,204 miles and spelling out WR 2026 across the continental United States. This was far more than an ordinary endurance ride. It was the world's largest coordinated GPS drawing by a motorcycle pair and a powerful tribute to the Women Riders World Relay, a movement that continues to inspire women riders around the globe. After a comprehensive forensic review of their Garmin InReach GPS tracking data and Spotwalla route archive, Atlas World Records is proud to officially recognize Wendy Crockett and Liza Miller as the world record holders for the largest coordinated GPS drawing by a motorcycle pair. On behalf of Atlas World Records, congratulations on an achievement that's quite literally left its mark across America.
Thank you so much. Woo, we get chairs. This is awesome. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
I did a thing. Awesome. Thank you so much. And we're about to get into this, but also thanks to Wendy for getting me through it.
And thanks to Liza for sticking it out.
We wanted to tell you a bit about how this came to be. Should we sit?
Sure.
How this came to be.
Here.
Who had the crazy idea to do this long distance ride? As Wendy says, I kept saying, I want a world record too.
So in 2019, as many of you may know, Liza was part of a group called Women Riders World Relay. And this was a wooden baton that started in England, and it was passed from woman rider to woman rider, and it circled the globe all the way back to England. It took a full year. It passed through the hands of thousands of women riders in dozens and dozens of countries around the world, and it really inspired a lot of women to rethink what they believed was possible for them. So, and a lot of women kept asking Liza and Haley Bell, when are you going to do this again? And they're like, we both ended up broke and jobless. This was a passion project. We can't do this every year. So Liza created a new iteration of the Women Riders World Relay that was really the inspiration for the ride that we just finished.
Yeah, I had the idea to make it an app. What the app does is it lets you share the baton digitally. So rather than having the one single wooden baton, you can pass multiple times. Once you've received it on your phone, then you can continue passing and pretend like you can see this, but these are all the passes around the world that have happened since January 1st, which right now is at 101.1 thousand baton passes between women in 87 countries, which I also want to thank Atlas because they also certified WR for the world's largest motorcycle relay. So we had this idea to create this app, and we did, and not sure exactly what its potential is, what it could do, but we saw it spreading around the world and gaining a lot of momentum. But here in the US, it was hard to gain momentum because we're so far apart. Our communities are not as connected as they are in a country like Australia, which seems big, except they're all just around the edge. And in US, we're so split. So we were trying to figure out how to bring the people in the US together and to share the baton around the US.
So the motto of Women Riders World Relay is connect, challenge, and change. We want to connect women riders. We want to challenge them to rethink what they believe is possible for them as motorcyclists. And we want to change how the industry perceives women riders.
And not just the industry, how women riders see themselves and what they're capable of doing.
The number of women that we cross paths with that would walk up to us and say, are you all girls? I would love to ride. And you say, what is stopping you? You see that spark, you see the excitement. Go out there and take a class, get out there and do it. But that was the spirit that we brought into this idea, is we wanted to have an event that would connect, challenge, and change and get Liza a world record.
Yeah, and at first the idea was that just the two of us would go and set this world record. But I'm not one to leave people behind. So I said, how can we include more people? I'm just going to talk to it. On the first relay, we went across the country and women signed up for each day. And on any given day, I had anywhere from 10 to 100 women riding with me for hundreds of miles, which was a logistic nightmare. We didn't want that to happen again. So Wendy suggested we raise the mileage a bit. Well, actually, you lowered it for me.
I suggested putting a couple 1,000-mile days in there just to shake things up. And Liza was like, yes, that's a great idea. And very shortly thereafter was like, that's a really terrible idea. So what we did is we broke up the map. We invited riders to join us, and men and women were invited to join us. We did have one guy come out with us. And
shout out Steve.
Is Steve back there? There you are.
Hey, there he is.
So we created days that the legs were between 550 and 650 miles approximately. We wanted this to be something that was attainable, but outside of what most riders had attempted before. And we had...
Yeah, I think a lot of women that I've talked to, 300 miles is a long day for a lot of people, not just women. For a lot of people, 300 miles is a long day. For Wendy, though, I remember one time you left my house in California, headed home to South Dakota, which is how many miles?
It is just under 1,500 miles.
Never stopped. I watched her tracker. She can just keep going. So we tried to find a balance. Something that would be a true challenge for not just myself, but for any woman who wanted to, or man who wanted to ride with us. But something that was attainable, doable, but not easy.
Right. And we did have, aside from Liza and I, we had a couple dozen riders that came out and joined us. We had another Iron Butt Rally veteran. We had women that were veterans of long distance competitions and Iron Butt Rally member or Iron Butt Association members. And we had women that were really new riders and everything in between. And the community that grew out of this group of riders was really inspirational. The people that did have more experience were sharing tips and tricks and gear. Hey, take this thing off my bike that works really great for me. You're going to be more comfortable as you go forward. Let me run out. I'm going to grab this thing for you that's going to make your ride safer for you as you go through. And it really became a group effort, much more so than we'd imagined.
But we also had Rose. Stand up, Rose. Rose joined us on day 3. Day 3. Rose, for fun on summer vacation, likes to ride around the country. How many miles and how many days do you usually do on your summer? Like about 3,000 across and then back home in like 2 months or something. Yeah. So she does like 6,000 miles in 2 months. Well, we just had her do 14,000 in 23 days. So yeah, so she upped her game and stuck with us on a sport bike. Yes, exactly. So it was really cool to have all these people join us. And that, when people ask me, did I have fun? I'm like, no. But I really enjoyed seeing all the people who joined us, who pushed their boundaries and saw that they could go faster and further than they thought they could with the support. And it wasn't easy. It was not the perfect weather. We had, in one day, I remember we went from 104 heat, and I thought I was going to heat stroke. I thought, like, I can't survive this. Oh, good. Here comes a dark cloud. What relief. About 20 minutes later, I was soaking wet, and it was 72 degrees, and I was shivering. And it's like, this is not easy.
Liza had a fair amount of not easy that she needed to overcome to get to the end of this ride. And some of it, like Liza said, some things she just needs to learn the hard way. And she definitely learned some lessons about long distance riding the hard way.
Yeah, I thought I was doing fine. I'll just get Gatorade at every gas stop, juice up, I'll be fine. Cut to, this is my hospital badge. I think there's one thing as a rider to know your limit and when you're no longer safe. And I was hanging in. I didn't feel well. I was just trying to breathe, trying to keep my breath and just stick it out. And then I called to Wendy. I said, I think I need to pull over. And she goes, well, there's some construction and then there's an exit. I said, I'm pulling over now because I was having trouble breathing and my hands and feet started to go numb. And I didn't know what was happening, but I knew at that point, it's no longer just trying to stick it out. This is now a problem. I am a danger. Pull over. And I remember just sitting on the bike like this and talking to her in the comms and just saying like, all right, I just need a second. I'm having trouble breathing. I'm just describing. And fortunately for me, everybody who came on this journey with us was the right person at the right time. Because that morning, a nurse had joined us and she took charge. Next thing I know, I'm on my back with my feet in the air on the side of the freeway. And I'm like, I'm fine. I'll be fine. And it's no joke when they say, drink lots of water. Because what had happened was, we found out at the hospital when they started doing all the tests, I was so severely dehydrated, my blood had thickened to the point it was not spreading oxygen around my body. I was struggling to breathe, and that's when my hands and feet were going numb. No, I mean, it's no joke. It went from, I can do this to, oh, no. And that's when I'm like, okay, I need to just start listening to people a little bit more.
I was told I was a nerd riding a nerd bike with my water jugs on it, describing how you should be drinking water consistently throughout the day, like nerd. And yeah.
Well, turns out when you drink a lot of Gatorade, it has a lot of sodium, and that sodium gets in there and it blocks your body from absorbing the water that you're drinking. Oh my gosh. So it's no joke doing this. To me, endurance riding, to her, a lunch run, But we're fortunate to have everyone there who knew what to do, get me to the hospital, get fluids in me. As I said, I got my fluids changed. And then back on the bike riding. But again, I was back to, I'm just going to stick it out. I don't feel well, but I'm going to stick it out. We still had, an 8-hour ride or 10-hour ride, which was going to put us into midnight. And at some point in the afternoon, I just said, I don't think I'm going to make it. And it was amazing how many times on this ride we hit an obstacle. We didn't even mention the night before the hospital visit, I had a sudden loss of air on my rear tire at 80 on the freeway. My valve stem snapped. And I managed to get it off safely. And Wendy has a thing I refer to as the Wendy's bag of magical fixie things. And Wendy pulls out this little thing. You want to tell them what it was?
Colby valve is what it's called. It's designed for, it came about for like off-road trucks. But you can replace the valve stem without pulling the tire off. So yeah, so we ripped off the old valve stem, poked in the base of it, installed the Colby valve by hand, and I had her ready to roll again before she could even get AAA to acknowledge her phone call. So yeah, Colby valves definitely worth the little bit of space.
How many years had it been sitting in your bag?
I've been carrying them for about 18 years.
there when you need it. So the day I get out of the hospital riding, and that day I was like, this is it. We can't go on. Magical bag of fixie things. The next morning, side of the freeway, I can't breathe. Magical bag of fixie things.
So by pure coincidence, I had arranged, we were looping, I live in South Dakota, and we were looping South Dakota adjacent through North Dakota and then Nebraska. So I had arranged for my husband to come down. He brought a spare set of wheels. So I could do basic service stuff on my own bike. I didn't need to worry about, we love you too.
Yeah, you tell him.
So I wouldn't have to worry about replacing my tires on the road. So my husband happened to be in town that morning, and he's another one of the players in our story that just the right person was there at just the right time, that we were able to call him and say, hey, we are 30 miles outside of town and Liza's not safe to ride. She needs to get back to the hospital ASAP. He jammed it back out there, picked us up in the construction zone, and got her immediately back to the hospital.
And so back on the bike, and then I get to the point afternoon where I'm just feeling like I'm losing energy. And once again, I'm like, I don't think I can go on. I don't think I can make it to midnight. And if we can't make it to our location, we're done. And Wendy comes up with a solution.
Yeah, but Liza kept saying, I'm just going to try. I'm just going to try a little bit further. But you could see the energy is completely drained from her. And the thing was, where we were, there was no little bit of try. There was a hotel in this town, or there was like 5 hours to the next hotel option. And we said, we'll call it a day here, get a good night's sleep, and we'll figure out how to fix this problem. Now we'll just need to, we need to call the women that are riding with us. They have plans. They have hotel reservations. We need to call all of the hotels, and we'll just kick everything out a day so that you have time to recover. And everybody that was with us, all of the riders that were with us that day, took a bit of these tasks on themselves, took ownership of some portion of rearranging all of this plan so Liza could have some time to recover.
And Glenda, the nurse, canceled her plans to stay on the ride to keep an eye on me and keep me going. I love Glenda. She's awesome. And we made it work, and we made the changes. We had one off day between finishing the record and coming here because I love this place, but this is not where I come to relax or sleep. So we had one day to relax. Well, that went out the window because we finished the night before we came here. But we delayed a day, and that just gave me enough time to sleep and kind of recuperate and keep going. And I'm like, okay, I think we can do this. I think we can do this. And then my chain kept stretching. Chain I had put on before we left. I'm like, wow, I keep hearing that chain slap. I keep tightening it. It's getting looser. And we had a scheduled stop for maintenance. That was still like 4 or 5 days out. And we were riding, what state were we in?
We were in Arkansas on our way to Missouri.
And I was riding with my left foot on the foot peg, waiting for the chain to snap for hours. And I just went, I can't keep riding like this. This is so stressful. I need to find a shop right now. I need to get this fixed. We pulled over. I called a shop. Do you have this chain in stock? Yes, we do. Can you put it on my bike if I show up right now? Yes, we can. Great. I called another shop that was just nearby. Do you have this in stock? I don't know. Let me check. Let me send you to the parts department. Do you have this? Let me see. Yeah, we got it. Great. Can you put it on? Let me send you to the service department. Hold on. Can you put this chain on? I don't know. Let me see if we have it in stock. We got a long click. We're driving to this other place. And I so appreciated them. Oh, I got their sticker on the other side
Reno
of my
Power
bike.
Sports,
Yes,
St. Louis.
because I so appreciated somebody who said yes and yes, and we went there and got it done. And then I felt relief because I could keep going on. that was the moment for me that I started feeling like maybe this can happen.
And then what's the rock in the radiator?
And then I got a rock in the radiator. And were we in Texas at that point?
No.
Somewhere dreadfully hot.
Dreadfully hot. And then you said again, you really need to come up with a plan B because I don't think I can make it. I said, let me introduce you to Stop Leak.
Yep.
We'll top this off and we'll see what happens. And it did. It took a good day.
And then I could ride like 5 miles and it over 8 pull over and then ride another 5 miles. But again, the right person. We had Tina had heard we were coming to Fayetteville and she's one of the leaders. And she's like, hey, I heard you're coming. I'm going to do a dinner, see you guys in. Do you need anything? I'm like, yes, I do. Can you go pick me up some Yamaha juice? And she did. And it was waiting for me. And we limped the bike to the hotel, changed that fluid, the stop leak worked again, and we kept going. But gosh, I thought each time we can't go on. But I do want to say I'm not the only one who had bike problems.
I had the tiniest bit of notchiness. I was feeling this little wiggle in the front end under certain circumstances, and I found some notchiness in the steering stem bearings. So I knocked those out and put some new steering stem bearings in the parking lot of a hotel in
Skip
Cheyenne,
dinner
Wyoming.
At the end of the night of our ride. Tire
Yep.
change, steering stem bearing in the parking lot, not a problem.
Yep. And just to make sure, sometimes when you put new races in for your steering stem bearings, they don't sit exactly square. And so in order to ensure that my races were in there exactly square, I've been carrying the tool with me for the entire rest of the country, because if you have the tool with you, you won't need it. And it worked. It was successful. The races were in properly, no trouble since. So
Yeah, this long distance riding is no joke. For her, she knows how to handle it. She's got a bike that's set up, which I recommend if you haven't taken a look at. You can see here. That's also the bike she set her Guinness World Record, all 49 states in alphabetical order.
And James did put a printout of our route actually on my bike too, so you can check that out.
But doing the long distance riding, yeah, she's got her gear worked out. She's got her accessories. She's got her bike. This bike I bought new for the trip to me. My gear was new. My accessories were new. It was a struggle. So that was a real lesson to get your stuff sorted before you go off on a ride like this.
And we certainly do appreciate Climb hooked us up with some new gear for the trip, which was fantastic. I will wear my gear until it falls apart off of my body, and that's not an idle threat. That actually happened in Peru. Liza and I were riding together, and my jacket just crumbled and died. So Climb was nice enough to make sure that we had appropriate gear for this trip. But, anytime you're starting a big trip, you don't want to start with all brand new stuff. You want to put some effort into breaking those things in, figuring out what works and what doesn't, because it is a tough haul to figure out the things that don't work when you're committed to a ride that big. But again, when you have a community coming together, this was not by a long shot just the two of us. We have this whole community that is watching us and listening to us and reading our posts and showing up with exactly what we need to keep going.
Yeah, it really was. It was a group effort.
It was.
Just the support, the camaraderie. And then I'll tell you, when we started getting further east and getting smaller letters and then into the numbers, which, by the way, 100% Wendy's the one who created this route. Not an easy thing to do when you're trying to draw little numbers up the eastern seaboard, because some of these roads, she had to see if it was like a dirt road, like to know what we were getting into.
So Liza and I have both ridden wildly inappropriate bikes on all sorts of dirt roads, but as soon as we opened it up to other people, they wanted to feel confident that this was an entirely paved route. So anything that wasn't interstate, I'm there doing street view to make sure that we know what we're getting into. And a lot of times I would say probably a bit more than half the route was interstate, and the rest of it was 2-lane road, sometimes 1-lane road at points. So it was a lot. Those smaller roads make for very slow going, but it makes for very cool riding. And it was important to break up the ride in that way, so you just could really get out there and feel the lean and have some fun and see a lot of the beauty. Anytime I hear anybody say, "Oh, Nebraska's so boring. Oh, Wyoming is so boring," they never leave the interstate, because every state has some really beautiful stuff, some really lovely riding if you get off the beaten path.
By the way, the best smelling state was North Dakota, just for the record. But yeah, as we're getting east and we're getting into tighter roads, now it's fun. Woo, we're hitting some twisties. 14 hours of this. Woo! But it was fun, and seeing all the people keeping up with us. I referred to this as the tour of the dollar stores, because we went through every small town in America, and they each has like 3. I kid you not, at least $250 stores we passed. But seeing America that way was really cool. The amount of silos and tractors and farmland and mobile homes and rolling hills and crops.
Something I love is I grew up in Los Angeles, and something I love traveling around the country you just don't see in California is some of the decay, like seeing old barns that are just in a state of decay, getting ready to collapse. Some of those things, I find such beauty in that, because I never experienced that in the land of like wildly expensive real estate. Nothing is left to decay. And I love finding that little piece of magic in the twilight years of that structure,
abandoned gas stations. But it made me kind of just fall in love with touring the U.S. again. There's so many different parts of the U.S. and just so many beautiful things. And the terrain, and like I said, just the farmland, and seeing the ways of life that people live across this country. Not any judgment at all, but just seeing when you're going through their yards, basically, and just seeing people out playing or mowing their lawn or riding their bikes, and just a glimpse of their life. It was really fascinating, which you don't see when you're just going down the freeway, getting as quickly as you can from one place to another. I recommend finding those back roads.
And we went from nearly coast to coast and nearly border to border. So in such a short period of time, really lets you appreciate just the majesty of this country, just the differences and what makes us all the same across the course of the ride. I think we can probably open up to questions, but
yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah. Oh, useful tool.
The most useful tool. I carry, like, in terms of what I've done to the bike, is twofold: the custom seat and my water jugs. I have 2 tools I carry with me that, no lie, solve about 80% of my problems. And that's a very good Leatherman, not just an off the shelf, but being very mindful about the tools that you pick. And then I have from Cruise Tools, I have an Outbacker. And that's got, it's got a handful of tools in it that complement the Leatherman really nicely. And those 2 tools solve the bulk of the little things that I need to do. Sometimes I will do stuff in my driveway because I'm too lazy to take 8 steps into the garage, because my Outbacker will do the tool that I need it to do. So, yeah, definitely.
And I'd like to give a plug to Airhawk seats. Yeah, long distance riding for me. I like my little Airhawk pillow on there. My favorite snack. Well, she yelled at me every time I got a Rice Krispie treat. I'm like, it's like breakfast. No, but there was something that Heather gave us. These little things of peanut butter in a pouch that you can slide in. And that was one of the things Glenda, the nurse, gave me. She went to the dollar store and got me jars of peanut butter to just shovel in my mouth to get some protein and sugar when I need, so that you don't get that high in the crash. Because that's the other thing I was doing is, I'm like, I need to wake up or I'm going to get some caffeine. I'm going to take the 5-hour energy. And then, I'm crashing after, oh, now I got to take some more. And I just kept trying to battle the waves. Now I'm going to eat lunch because I'm hungry. Now I'm crashing. Now I need more caffeine. And I think that was part of the cycle. And she's like, you idiot, stop eating. Simple.
And it genuinely took until probably the third to last day before I saw a lot of it clicking. You can't just keep chasing those caffeine crashes or those sugar crashes when you eat heavy food, junk food. All of those things impact your ability to assess your own fatigue level. So the more crap you're throwing in your body, and Liza's like, my body's used to dealing with crap. But it's like your body's not used to dealing with these physical demands that you're asking of it on this ride. So it is so important to just have like water. It is so important, like apples, carrot sticks, cheese sticks, eggs, sometimes pickles, unsalted nuts, unsweetened dried fruit. All of those things are really, really good that you can keep in your tank bag. And then like Justin's nut butter, I like that it doesn't have a lot of crap in it. Single serve packs. You can knead those up and eat those while you ride. And all of those have a really nice blend of like healthy fats and healthy carbs and things like that to keep your body with steady energy. So you're not second guessing, am I having a sugar crash? Am I just sleepy because I ate a giant lunch? Or am I genuinely fatigued and I need to stop and take a nap? So it can be really difficult. Like we travel around and we find a lot of fun foods and interesting things you want to try. But this is a athletic undertaking. So it is important to be mindful of what you're putting in your body to fuel that undertaking.
Yeah, and also keeping your mind straight. I like to play a game called What Was That Dead Thing? Once we got to the armadillos, it was getting interesting. You got a question, Phil? I did not have any seafood really until I got here and I got the discount shrimp at the grocery store because that's my kind of adventure.
And that was, we started out in the West where we had a lot of major interstates and our 600-mile days go by pretty fast. And then as we start moving east and the roads become smaller and smaller and the days become hotter and longer, all of those stops we're making in the course of the day become longer and longer. And then we get to the point where by the time you stop at the end of the day, restaurants aren't open anymore and you're digging into your sleep. So then, it really starts to click how important it is. It's not this 5-minute stop. It's that this 5-minute stop becomes a 30-minute stop and every other 5-minute stop becomes a 30-minute stop. And then there's no seafood towers. Then there's not even any Popeye's chicken at the end of the day because everything's closed at 11:30 when you roll in. So all of these little parts of the big picture that you simply need to get out there and experience for yourself. It's not just a compilation of tanks of gas. It's this whole grander picture that's part of the, like literally and figuratively in this case, the whole big picture. So
Yeah.
it was really cool. One of my proudest moments of this trip came on the second to last night when Liza said, "Do you guys want to leave early tomorrow?" And I almost shed a tear.
Because I wanted to have dinner.
I told
that
everybody,
night.
get your cameras out. She'll never hear Liza ask us to leave early again.
Not a morning person.
Never again.
But I knew either we could, if we left early, it meant we could have dinner. And I wouldn't be eating peanuts out of my tank bag for dinner. Yeah. I wanted to give a quick plug too. A lot of this came about, she mentioned WR. So if you don't know, Women Riders World Relay, that's my organization. We just, right before setting this, we were at the Isle of Man. We led the Legacy Lap at the Isle of Man. First time women led the Legacy Lap. And that was also a big win for me. But I want to get a plug because the Women Riders World Relay, or the WR app, is not just for women. Anyone can use it. And what you'll find in there that's fun is we've created challenges that get you out riding, that give you goals. Some of them are mechanical, some of them are riding, some are industry things to get you out of your comfort zone, to get you doing things, and you get points and you knock out the challenges. But like there's one on there right now, scavenger hunt. Go for a ride and find these 5 things. It's like a rope swing, a pink house, a fire truck. It just gives you a reason to go out and ride and have fun. And so if you haven't, feel free to download WR app and be challenged, because that's what this was about. This was about merging my world and Wendy's world of long distance riding, challenging myself to see what I could still do, to inviting other people, not just women, to join us, for them to be challenged as well, and for us to connect this country together through this and all the people that joined us. And so big thanks to Wendy for helping me figure out how to do this. And of course to Atlas for certifying and following us so that we were certified and they could be here, because we just finished day before yesterday.
Atlas has been following along. Atlas has been amazing to work with. I worked with the other guys for my previous world record, and it has become such a wildly expensive, burdensome machine that Atlas has been just a breath of fresh air. So it was very, very cool to be able to be in constant contact with them, so that they were able to be here this weekend.
Yeah, and thanks to AMA for letting us do this here, because this is something we look forward to every year, is coming to this event. And this was the perfect kind of goal. And then
Crescendo.
My last plug is I wanted to thank Top One Oil, my sponsor, because they sponsor cool people doing cool things in cool places. That's all. They just like, you got a cool idea, we want to help you achieve that goal.
And thanks to Liza, who did not give up and is...
You wouldn't let me.
I would not let you. I was there with the whip. I was going to see this through to fruition. But, Liza's always out there inspiring people to do great things. So I'm very lucky to have been able to share this record with her. If you guys would like to come, I know the infield closes in about 15 minutes. If you want to come check out the bikes, if you've got any questions you'd like to ask us, check out our map. I do have some books.
So buy her book. If you do not have it, Pushing Miles. It also works great as a doorstop. It's
you
very
could beat
large.
intruders to death with it. It's quite handy. That's the book about my previous world record ride I did in 2022. If you don't catch me here, I am at the Royal Enfield demo truck. I'll be out there all weekend. You can swing by and say hi.
And if you have the WR app, come on up. We've got golden batons to pass. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We appreciate it.
So, Wendy, you and I weren't the only ones on this trip.
No, I would argue we weren't even nearly half the coolest people on the trip.
Rose, you signed up for this trip
Yeah.
and did every day but 2 days
Yeah.
and you did a little half day
Yeah.
one day, but still, you didn't have to stick with it through the hot weather.
Yeah. I
and
could have
through-
dipped out.
You could have dipped out at any time,
Yeah.
but you stuck with it.
Thank you. Yeah.
So why did you come on this trip?
I wanted to see if I could. And I had done some long trips before, but they'd taken me a long time to do the long trips. And I wanted to kind of repeat the 13,700 mile trip that I did 2 years ago, but I want to repeat it. I want to repeat that trip in a more focused kind of way instead of just wondering, can I make it 500 miles or 600 miles to my next stop? And can I plan a different kind of trip next time? Can I be more deliberate in where I go and have the confidence that I can get there? And so I wanted to learn from the expert long distance rider, Wendy Crockett, and have the support of my good friend, Liza Miller, to see if I could do it.
You also supported me at the Isle of Man. You came out and joined us there too.
Yeah. Bucket list.
Yeah.
Bucket list going to the TT. And when you told me about that last year when it was like in the planning, and I was like, oh man, it's time to pull the trigger and just do it. Just like dig deep into the credit cards and pull out every dollar to rent the bike and go over there. And brought my husband on that one. I don't usually bring him to stuff.
So you decided to join us on this trip, and you brought Wendy, would you say this would be the ultimate long distance riding bike that she brought?
It's pretty close. Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that I would change, being
Probably
in the
the
entire
seat.
seating position.
Yeah, so it was a K1300 as the 2011 K1300.
It's a sport bike.
It's still sport bike, yeah. Low handlebars. I've got the 2 hard-sided panniers, and then I put 3 soft-sided dry bags on it.
Not a lot of room to move around. You see Wendy and I when we're riding, using our highway pegs,
Yeah.
and getting in different positions to keep the blood flow.
Yeah, my
You were
highway
kind
pegs
of
are my passenger
stuck in
pegs.
one position.
Yeah, I would put my feet up on my passenger pegs and lay forward on the tank. So kind of like a Superman sort of position, but with my knees quite bent. But yeah, yeah. I think the one thing the seat's not for touring. The windscreen is the big thing that I would say is not for touring on that bike, because it's like a short cafe racer windscreen on that.
I would say
bike.
also the amount of luggage that you had piled on top of your rear seat.
Well, I was going camping at Vintage Days, so I needed to bring all of my
You had
my
3
bedroom, living room,
duffel
and
bags.
Yes, I did. Yes.
So what was one of the hardest days for you on this ride?
Gosh, it's hard to pick one. There was I think that the hardest ride. So for me, especially with so many bags piled up on the back of my bike, when the wind gets really high, and I'm getting blown across the lane, that's the trick. That's like the scariest.
I referred to your bike as a schooner.
Yeah.
With the sails.
Yeah. Yeah. Side to side. So the hardest day for me was when that was combined with heavy rain. And so I wasn't sure if the swooshing feeling that I was feeling was, am I getting blown by the wind or am I losing traction? Thankfully, I did have Wendy in front of me on the exact same kind of tire. So I could actually see those tires pushing the water away, and until the visibility dropped to the point where I couldn't see her anymore. And so the hardest day for me was when we all had to pull over into that gas station and just wait for Wendy to figure out a route around that storm.
Yeah.
And then keep going.
Wendy, for you, I mean, you're used to riding through anything. How was the weather for you on this trip?
This is a pretty tame spread of weather. There was
It didn't snow.
no.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
there was less aggressive storms than normally, you experience riding in the summertime, especially in the south and the east.
Yeah.
It's really common to have afternoon storms kick up. We had a couple pretty aggressive bits of time, a few hours at a time were some of the big ones. But, genuinely, there have been trips, and just like looking at the Iron Butt Rally is another event that has the same type of time pressures where people have spent 10 of the 11 days in nonstop rain.
Mhm.
So we were lucky in that regard. There are ways to mitigate heat, but it gets dangerous with extreme heat, as we found, but it also is really dangerous when you get to the point where there's pooling water and aggressive wind and things like that. It really takes it out of you. So once we found as a group, like really good ways to deal with the heat, I think that put us in a better position overall than it was trying to deal with the rain, where it was just oftentimes impossible to see and dangerous to interact with other traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were times that the rain got so hard, I couldn't see through. My helmet had water coming down the inside. My glasses had fogged up. And I said, I'm looking through a kaleidoscope right now. This is all I can see. Where we had to run our hazard lights just so we can see each other to get off. But yeah, you're right. I think, even though we had extreme heat, like many days that it was up to 104, we had extreme wind, we had fires that we had to navigate, some that were visible from where we were.
Mhm.
We got lucky. We threaded the needle through the fires. We threaded the needle through a lot of storms and caught the edges of it.
I agree. And that was some excellent navigation that Wendy did around that big storm too, where she was like, if we leave in the next 20 minutes, we can just get the edge of this and get to the other side.
So that was less navigation around, because that was the unique thing about this ride, is we didn't have the ability to navigate around much of anything because it was the drawing. So what we had to do was take all of these elements and say, okay, how do we suffer the least and keep the main thing
for the drawing,
the integrity of the drawing. So yeah, that's what it was. It's just taking a look at, looking at our timing for rush hours in various places, looking at the satellite imagery and saying, when do we need to be on the road and how aggressive do we need to be riding in order to keep us safe and maximally comfortable? Yeah.
Well, the day that I went into the hospital and then got out of the hospital, and had my fluids changed, we were looking at a long day of riding, and I'm like, I'm going to tough it out best as I can. Just get on the bike, just keep going. But unfortunately, because of the route, we were doing these back roads through farmland on an extremely hot day. And I just kept assessing that if I said I need to pull over and stop for a second or rest, not a single lick of shade anywhere.
Yeah.
None. There was no relief. And when you're pushing yourself, like, I'm just going to keep going, knowing that when I get to that point where I don't feel safe, I'll say stop. But there's nowhere to stop. There's nowhere to get the relief. So that's when I started going like, oh boy, I don't think I'm going to make it. And that's why we, had to come up with a plan B and push it a day. Because we couldn't just hop on the freeway. Just rolling faster would have made it easier, or would have given us access to more gas stations, relief, ice, or no, we were stuck on back roads with
for the
nothing.
drawing. We were on the back roads, and Glenda got us that hotel in the tiny little town we did end up stopping at. That was amazing.
Yeah. So there were times that being on that path, it was hard, but then there were other times it was quite rewarding. There were many times I said, these are roads I never would have chosen, and we're seeing life in America, and going through just different types of rural homes and old gas stations and all that. I really enjoyed a lot of that.
I like the seeing the after the flood on the Blue Ridge Parkway, the recovery from the flood that they had last year.
Asheville.
Yeah, North Carolina. We were going
Chimney Rock.
I think so. Yeah, we were just seeing how they
Where
had recovered.
It still looked like fresh devastation.
Yeah, but the community was there.
2 years now?
I think it was only
a year and a half?
year.
Something like
I
that.
think it was last year.
Yeah, I know. That was incredible. So besides that, what was a highlight for you coming on this ride?
Oh, I think it was that tiny little park, that state park. Was it Lost River State Park?
In Arkansas, maybe?
I think.
Oh, no. That was West Virginia.
West
Oh my
Virginia.
God, I love that. That was like, this is just us on the road, just negotiating these like twisties and one of those fantastic kind of. It reminded me a lot of home, and it was just really great to stretch the muscles, the turning muscles.
Well, that was the thing when we were drawing the first W, which was so big. It took how many days?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first WR was like half the ride.
Yeah.
And doing just these straight lines. And then the day that we got on a highway that had curves through a canyon, you're like, can I just go, please? Can I just go? Yes,
that's true.
go ahead.
I did actually.
You just let me be free.
I did actually go ahead for just a little bit.
Yeah, because
I was like, I need to stretch.
doing the route isn't easy. I found it, I was saying at our talk, the first hour was always harder for me. The last hour was the easiest. I don't know if it's the same way for you, Wendy, but I'm looking at that time. And when I get to that, it takes over to 59 minutes to destination, I start to feel elated. I start to feel, well, we talked about this, Rose, because you were having trouble early on the trip of just this grind, this daily grind. Get on
the straight
bike
lines.
And I said, yeah, but every day when we get to the end of the day, I feel like I accomplished something and I feel better
at
the end of the day than I do the beginning. Because at the beginning, you're like, ugh, I got to get through this. At the end of the day, I did this and I feel good. When most people are feeling tired, that was when I felt best.
Yeah. I
think it's just a perspective, but
yeah, I did feel like I was losing my mind with some of the straight lines and it just, but it was one of the reasons that I wanted to do the trip. Can I do this? Do I actually have the resilience to just keep going, and actually, because I actually ran out a whole tank of gas. Because I think I've only ever done like half a tank before. I've never actually stayed on the road until my entire gas tank was empty. Because that's like 200 miles for the K-bike.
The other highlight, too, was all the people who were joining us on it. Like yourself, people signed up for the Wendy torture session.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them knew what they were getting into.
I called it the boot camp, right? Endurance riding boot camp. But as Wendy pointed out, it was boot camp light because we actually did stop for lunches.
Yep.
Can you name everyone who joined us?
Okay, so Jamie, and I'm gonna apologize in advance because I'm gonna try to do it in order. But Jamie and Connie and June and Heather. Now I'm probably gonna go backwards. There's like Kara,
Kimba, Chrissy,
Anastasia, Glenda Owens,
Julie, Gina.
And there was one guy at the end.
Stephanie, Steve, yeah. We said Kara. They all were a delight.
Yeah.
They were all ready to go.
Glenda's like just about 10, 11
and
years
Anastasia.
Old. Yeah, Glenda is about 10, 11 years older than I am. And we stayed, like, I shared a room with Glenda. I shared a room with Kimba. Glenda and I would be chatting about just random things after the day after the ride. And she's done a lot of long distance miles too. Harley rider, little bit older than me. It turned out we had so much in common. It was really weird. And it's like we're doppelgangers from different parts of the country. It was so beautiful.
She was a delight. I want to give a shout out to Lily.
Lily, yes.
My dear friend Lily, who had many roles in this ride, though many people would never know it.
Amy Friends.
Oh, yeah. Amy Friends, yes. Trey. Oh, yeah, we were going to keep remembering.
We're terrible.
I want to give credit to my good friend Lily. I, like you, Wendy, you had to work at night after we do a long day's ride, pull out the computer, phone, do work. I was doing work also, but I was having harder and harder time keeping up. So I ended up calling Lily, who would transcribe things from me reciting stuff over the phone and put it into the computer and load stuff for me. And I couldn't have gotten through all the work without her help. But also, it was such a great distraction because suddenly I look up and like 200 miles have gone by.
Yeah. You were on the phone a lot. And that headset and then that helmet that cut down on the noise. But it was like...
But also, Lily, she did something pretty special for us on the second to last day. Lily, unfortunately, couldn't ride with us because she had a commitment the day that she'd be riding. But she did ride and brought her friend Kara out to meet us at our stop in...
the day before
Corning,
New York.
Yeah, and she lives in upstate New York. She rode out just to ride back the next day. But I was talking to her on the phone. She said, hey, we're here at the hotel. And I said, well, I'm expecting fireworks and confetti and a big reception. She tried her best, nearly that. But we pull up to the hotel, and that was on our 15-hour day.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, we're not getting dinner tonight. Long, long day. We had a few riders with us, and we showed up, and Lily had streamered the entire front entrance of this poor hotel.
The driveway.
The driveway
entrance. The driveway in front of the front door.
They all had balloons, and she made it the best reception ever.
Yeah.
And she also had food for us. Got them to open up the breakfast room and had food for us.
You rode through the driveway like at the end of Chariots of Fire when like the runner goes through the ending ribbon and breaks the ribbon with your bike, but you broke it with your face.
It went from awesome to horrible really fast. Let me tell you something. You guys were kind enough to say, Liza, come up. We'll let you break through
Yes.
the
Liza to the front. Liza to the front.
The streamer. But I got a streamer to the face, which then broke somewhere along this. It was this huge, like it was one endless streamer. It broke.
A trailing streamer.
But it kept pulling across my face through my helmet and was paper cutting the bottom of my nose. And I'm going, ow, 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 pain, pain. And you guys just started laughing hysterically. And I had to ride it out with this thing just
you had to go from the
shearing my nose.
entrance to the park, to actually park your bike. And I did actually think it was hilarious.
It was like a 50-foot paper cut.
Yes. Yes. There was no blood, was there?
No, but it was just that string across my nose. It hurt.
It was great.
And you just could not think. There was nothing funnier at that moment. Accurate.
It was really good in that moment. At the
My
end of the
pain.
day.
I'm glad you appreciated it.
What are friends for?
Yeah. So big thanks to Lily. That Lily is she's becoming known in her group when she gets mentioned on this show.
Yeah.
But our big reward was we finished and we got to go to Vintage Motorcycle Days. AMA, Vintage Motorcycle Days. Wendy, you've been multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
I've been multiple times. Rose, first time.
First time. Yeah. No expectation.
What were you prepared for?
I was prepared to camp for a couple of days. And that's it.
And when we say camp, are you thinking there's going to be some nice trees and some
I was
fire
hoping there'd be like shade and a picnic table. Yeah.
Yeah, define
campground.
define the camping.
squeezed my tent. So the normal thing that I always expect this with camping, there's going to be a gravel road on the way to the campsite. And this one had a bit of elevation up and down-ish and some mud and some huge rocks in the gravel road. And I was just breathing through that, but then got and parked my bike and squeezed my tent in between a couple of campers.
There's a reason we call it the FEMA disaster camp.
Yeah.
Because that's what it looks like.
A lot of campers and toy haulers and trailers and easy ups. I actually thought that was kind of brilliant of the Phil's, the Cleveland Moto crew to do with the 2 easy ups.
It was three.
3 easy ups.
10 by 20 easy ups that
stuck
made
together.
our lounge.
Yeah. And then all of the camp chairs gathered around and they had put like ground cover underneath that and then had set up the bar underneath the easy ups. And I was like, wow, this is like indoor living outdoors.
Yeah. And this is a perfect opportunity to give our big shout out and thanks to Phil, our host, and the entire Cleveland Moto group. Johnny Mac, Sleepy, Tom, Becky, Dan, they're all there. And Phil, not only do they bring all the chairs, all the sleeping bags we need, the bar, Tom and Becky providing food, it wouldn't take money. And then Phil also brings a plethora of small scooters and motorcycles. And kind of the general rule is if there's a key in it, you can take it.
My first time on a scooter.
You didn't like it?
I did not.
No. So right away, we have the best accommodations.
So I actually ended up having to work the event. I was there representing Vintage Rides alongside the Royal Enfield demo truck. So when we arrived at camp, I kind of quick unloaded some basics and then I had to jam off to get my stuff set up. And I came back to the camp and found Phil just beaming with pride that he had set up the camper for us.
The Misfits Hilton.
The Misfits Hilton with beautiful carpets on the ground and had all of the cots set up.
Yeah, he had our cats, pillows, everything set up.
Yeah, he hung a roll of toilet paper from the wall.
Yes,
he spared no expense. He thought of everything to make sure we were comfortable. And it was so awesome. Just what a
He's sleeping in the back
guy.
of a U-Haul with a roll-up door, and we have his trailer, which is just the trailer he brings the bikes in. It's not really accommodation, but he's got, the cots, everything. It's pretty cozy.
For those 4 days, it is accommodation.
It's swanky for where we're at. Again, we got lucky with the weather.
We did, yeah. Not too hot, not
Not
cold
too
at
hot,
all.
no rain. We've had it all there.
It's like it didn't rain until after we left on Sunday.
I think
it rained
this,
a little.
no lie, is probably the best weather just like all weekend that I've had at any VMD I've been to.
Super sunny, but I want to give a big thanks to Tom and Becky especially for the food because I'm lactose intolerant vegetarian.
Pain in the ass.
I bring my entire kitchen and all the food I would need for the entire weekend, and I didn't have to cook at all. Becky was on it. She had everything.
You can thank Sleepy for that.
Sleepy is the other vegan vegetarian in their crew, but also can thank Sleepy for actually not eating that much because I'm mostly drinking his protein shakes. Because then I got to eat whatever portion of Sleepy's was. So it was great. It was absolute food. I didn't have to cook at all.
Yeah, the thing about Vintage Days too is the AMA puts it on, and they have all sorts of things to see and do.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the swap meet. You've got all the racing. You've got the Wall of Death and the infield with all the vendors and the museum bikes and the test rides. But that's not what the big attraction is. It's really the communities in the campground. It's what happens in the evening.
After dark, they all come out. After dark, all the hooligans do the hooligan stuff, which I definitely appreciated seeing. And I was like, oh my God, there's so many of my friends back home that would just absolutely love this.
Well, it's also, as we've grown this, it started out like Phil's group, and then I kind of came in, and then we keep kind of expanding it, and more people come every year. Like the Biddles, they set up their camp with us. We have Marshall, Luke, Patty, Josh, Brent, Harley, Bob, Anson with his daughter Ivy, and the other kid whose name I never got because he didn't jump through fire. Carter's dad. I never learned Carter's dad's name. He's Carter's dad. Matt and Missy, of course, from Meadow Hop. You like Good Whiskey Eric?
Good whiskey, Eric. Good whiskey guy, Eric. Man,
Fireman Mike, and I'm sure there's people we're forgetting, but
that little kid Jonathan that kept screaming by on the PW80 saying, "Hi, Liza."
I have no idea
who he was.
No idea.
I only got his name because you passed by and he's like, "Hi, Liza," and then he goes to me, "I forgot your name," and I said, "I'm Wendy. I forgot your name too," and I got his name that way. It still didn't answer any questions.
He's like a 10-year-old on a PW.
oh,
I kept saying hi to
10
him.
at most.
At
10 at most. I think
maybe.
it was like 8. Yeah,
Maybe.
it's very small.
He was ripping.
And he was bringing us fuel for the fire, literally cardboard boxes from his parents' garbage bin.
living
And that's
his
the
best
thing.
life.
It's the people that you're meeting. One of my favorite moments was Amanda Knapp showed up for 24 hours at VMD because she just didn't understand. And we headed off, and I wanted to show her the woods. I never showed you the woods.
No, I'm not. No,
Because you couldn't handle the gravel driveway.
Yeah.
But once you go into the woods, that's where the cool stuff is.
Yeah.
And you have to, whatever bike you're on or scooter, sorry, Zach, for trying to follow me. You have to navigate through the actual trials and the not motocross.
Hare scramble?
The hare scramble route. There's some water crossings.
Amanda
and
Knapp
stuff.
is an actual hare scramble
I know.
champion. So
You navigate back
She
into
can
the
do it.
woods and you get to the hill climb. And back where the hill climb is. And you're under all these cover of all these trees, and you can tell you're there. It's full of just smashed beer cans. And this is where all the kids hang out watching the other kids doing the hill climb. I've gone back there many times, but Amanda and I went back there. This is where all the teenagers were hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like they accepted us into the tribe. And one of them came up to me and he goes, "Sup, you going to do the hill climb on that thing?" And I'm like, "Nah, I just come to watch the idiots." He's like, "Yeah, me too." And then some of his friends came over and we're just chatting. We're talking about the Manila. We're talking about their bikes. We're just shooting the shit and just talking smack about things.
I did like
and
your
people.
vanilla.
And I just had so much fun because I'm like, I'm a 60-year-old woman from California hanging out with the teenagers in the woods and just having fun.
Not creepy at all.
BMD. It breaks down the barriers.
It does.
You know? I wanted to give a big shout out to Zach, though.
Yeah.
Zach from American Moto Co.
Yeah, he was game for everything.
He's been writing a lot of stories about myself. You're on the list, Wendy.
No, what'd I do?
No.
To be written out by Zach.
He discovered it. He told me, I was like, we have to watch out. There are some men who are collectors of women writers, that only friend women writers. And at first, I'm like, is this one of them collectors? Because he did an article on Z, and he did one on Michelle, he did one on Haley, did one on Aaron. And then he hit me up, and I'm like, I know your type. Oh, no. It's just that he met Z somewhere, and then she turned him on, I think, to Michelle. And it was each one he talked to mentioned somebody else. And he was just kind of being introduced more and more to each of these women writers that had amazing stories. And Amanda Knapp and Lily, each one of them, he's just been fascinated to learn about all of our stories.
Yeah.
Because that's something we say is a lot of women's stories aren't told. So he fit right in. He showed up ready,
good dude.
ready to go. He said, "Teach me the way, Sensei." And I took him to the woods. I took him to the pits. I took him everywhere. I showed him the good pooping bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I taught him all the tricks, and he had a great time. So, Rose,
Highlight Amanda Knapp going over the fire.
Yeah. Now I want to say, like, there are some people who say that VMD, oh, it's way too rowdy. In fact, I have an email that came in. I wanted to share with you guys. This is so great. Some people find it a bit much.
A few people had mentioned, interestingly enough, a few women mentioned that their husbands found it a bit much and would therefore not be joining us.
I got an email from Dave Pardo. Hey, Dave. He said, Liza and Wendy, I was looking forward to meeting you on Saturday at Mid-Ohio, but to no avail. I found your impressive bikes and campsite by way of another Motorcycles and Misfits fan over by the stunt area. I came up to him because we both had M&M shirts on and were instant friends. Very cool community we have. I don't know how you guys could handle all that craziness of Mid-Ohio after being on the road as long as you have been. I could handle about 3 hours and packed it in and rode back on quiet roads south to Columbus. I was there just for the day. Looking forward to hear more of your adventures. Dave. 3 hours.
Yeah, that's fair. Dave. If you don't know what you're in for, it's a whole different mindset, right? Like, all of us had days where we just relished being on just one little windy, quiet 2-lane road after another. But when you know what you're in for with VMD and you put yourself in the mindset, it's like, I think I described it like this is as close as you're going to get to riding in Kathmandu in the US. So you have to be mentally prepared to be interacting with that many people and that many types of people and bikes and activities. And it is just a beautiful dance of chaos.
So that said, getting back to the fire jumping. Our fire jumping was the very, very safe fire jumping.
Yeah.
As opposed to the fire jumping that was going on down around the corner where they actually like set a barrel on fire and put a ramp on it and we're jumping like 5 feet in the air. Our not a ramp that Phil puts out in front of the camp that clearly says not a ramp that we put out on the road. And anytime somebody goes over it, we all shout, not a ramp. Just in case, because the police have told us before, hey, you got to get rid of the ramp. It's not a ramp. It clearly says
not a ramp, not a fire in front of the not a ramp.
But I was like, it's time to like pepper this up a little bit. And Ivy, who had recently learned to ride, who had been whipping back and forth on doing jumps on one of the scooters, I think. Was it the Black Cat?
On the Black Cat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I go to her dad. I'm like, you ready to make some memories? Let's do this. And I got out some cardboard and I'm like, when I said, is it okay if I create a fire? He's like, yeah. And we, of course, hey, Ivy, who's just turned 16. You want to jump some fire? Yeah. So we built it up and she starts jumping. And that's when Jonathan showed up to bring more cardboard to build the fire back up.
He passes by, pauses a moment to take stock of the situation, leaves, and we thought maybe he was going to turn around and make a run at the ramp, not a ramp. Nope, comes back 10 minutes later with a pile of trash to make the fire bigger. Then he loops around.
Yeah.
But then I love how the guy on the e-bike with a baby on the front in a carrier does the ramp.
Baby's got a helmet on.
Baby had a helmet on. And I'm like, that is VMD right there. Let's go. But then Sleepy, he's the one who came to me with this. Usually I'm the one trying to plot up crazy ideas for the drunk people to do. And this time it was Sleepy who came to me for help in his idea, of which I'm like, yes, I'm in. So he brought a couple of those Zorb balls. I don't know where they got these from.
Human-sized inflatable
They're like 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
Inflatable balls with a tunnel down the middle so a person can slide down in. And he's like, hey, Liza, I need your help. I want to get someone in it and throw it into the crowd at the burnout pit. I'm like, done.
Yep.
So then it's like sizing up who's going to be the best person to fit in there. And then Ivy comes along. I'm like, hey, Ivy, You want to be thrown in a ball and crowd surf the audience down there? She's like, hell yeah. I'm like, rad. So we just she kept going, is it time? Is it time? Can we do it now? But no, we got to wait for the crowd to get big enough down there in the party corner. And 11 o'clock, she can do it now? I'm like, all right, let's go check it out. So we put her in the ball and we were testing it out. We had one of the guys get in there and they're running at each other. We're just bopping her around like she's ready. So we get her in the ball. We take her down there and we've got a whole crew with us. We managed to lift the ball up and just throw it.
Throw her in the ball.
So the way it works in the captain's corner, you get the captain who's on a stage, who's announcing the burnout that's happening in front of him, and then a crowd of hundreds. Mm-hmm. And there's flashing lights and music, and it's very exciting. So we go down there, we pick her up, we just throw her, and he's like, all right, what's all this must be from the FEMA camp? What's okay? He's just trying to like, whoa. And we just throw her. And I've got video of her just bounce around. Every now and then she'd drop.
Yeah.
And we run over and is she okay? Okay, back up. Lift her back up. And my favorite is at one point she's crowd surfing and there's a hole at each end. So your head is one, your feet's the other. She curled up, tucked up into a tight ball as best as she could. But she fell upside down onto the guy doing the burnout in the middle of the crowd. And I'm like, did you land on him? She goes, yeah, I was upside down and his head came up into the hole. And I just looked at him and said, hello. Imagine the guy doing a burnout 1 second. And the next thing you know, you're somewhere else. Your head has been enveloped and there's a girl saying hello upside down in front of your face.
Yeah.
He must have been like, what is happening? What just happened?
Just went through the Twilight Zone.
She goes back up and drops again. And I'm like, shit, we got to get her. We're trying to get through the crowd. And one of our guys, I think Brent, he was the first there and he's checking on her. Apparently she landed on her head, got rocked pretty hard. She's like, I think I have a concussion. So we're like, all right.
Get her back to the FEMA camp, have her checked out by the nurses.
We're pulling the ball.
Patty
her.
and Luke both checked the lights.
Get her checked out.
She was thankful she was actually okay. Just got her bell rung really hard.
And we're like, all right. And Sleepy was like, oh man, that was awesome. Like, yeah, we did a thing.
She'll remember that forever.
Oh, yeah. Jumping fire.
Her father will probably have nightmares about it.
Oh, he was in.
Yeah.
There were also a few parents who were letting me give their kids alcohol.
Oh, no.
Just enough, just a little thimbleful.
Is that something you want to admit to on a
It's a
international...
thimbleful. There are countries that use it as medicine.
And a deterrent, because I think what you gave them was moonshine. Teeny thimbleful of moonshine, and the kid hated it.
Yeah, so that was the goal.
Yes, you will never drink again.
I tasted, what was that stuff called again? Merlot. It tasted like somebody mixed battery acid and gasoline together.
What is Merlot? I've never heard of that.
It's moonshine.
It was pretty horrible. I think it was fuel.
That sounds horrible.
It's a little shot.
But
glasses.
I love. I had a. I came up with a phrase for what I think VMD is all about, and what I love watching. It's kids making memories, and old people reliving them.
I taught Sarah how to use a clutch.
Did you just talk over my great quote?
Oh yeah, I did. Memories. That's what your memory sparked a memory in me.
I'll say it again.
Okay.
Kids making memories and old people reliving them.
Yeah.
And you get the old guys on the vintage dirt bikes, the ones that they probably really wanted when they were kids, you know? And then you get the kids riding bikes that are way too big for them. Who gave that kid that two-stroke, you know? And it's so much fun to watch. Everyone just having fun.
Yeah. There's just this weird, like, closed system almost. and what happens inside VMD has no bearing necessarily on how these people are outside and the rest of the
that's
world.
true.
The people that we see at the burnout corner, it's like, I know that you're a straight-laced professional the rest of the year, but you come to VMD and you just embrace this.
I know you're a scientist in your actual life.
Yeah, and even though it's, there's like alcohol going around, it's not, everyone's looking out for each other,
Yeah.
and it's good fun. And I have so much fun just seeing everyone else having fun and just exploring. And there's still, every year I go, I've been going for like 10, 12 years right now. It's been a while. Every year I go, I discover something new. And this time I discovered even more trails in the woods that I didn't know were there, and was riding those.
Was it in front of the gate that said your bike will be confiscated? Or?
Yes, you had to go through that gate. Yes.
Of course you went through that gate.
Yes, everyone went through that gate. And the barrel racing was live again. I took a few laps on it when it was a little slow. Nothing bad happened there. It was a good time. They didn't shut it down. You even thought that it was a little calmer this year?
I felt like it was calmer overall this year than I've experienced in a while. It'll be interesting to see what the head count was. It certainly seemed like there was plenty of people. It didn't feel like as many as last year, but everybody was half a notch calmer than normal.
Yeah, it might be because we started to lose access to things.
Yeah.
They absolutely shut down the woods last year. They absolutely shut down the barrel racing. There were things like when someone got hurt, we're like, absolutely shutting this down.
Mm-hmm.
They let us have things back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I ran into one of the sheriffs at one point. I was just riding alongside him. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Things look calmer this year. How's it been for you? He shook his head. Nope, not calmer. And without going into any details, I will say, somewhat embarrassingly, there were arrests made this year, and they came from our camp, which was a shock.
Tangentially, I'd say.
Yeah, but they came from our camp. And yeah, somebody spent the night in jail.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't me. I'm just going to put it out there. I know what you're all thinking.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's part of what makes the camp amazing is that all are welcome. And some people abuse that atmosphere.
Some people don't know their limits. I think that they come to maybe to an event like this, and then all of the societal norms go out the window. But then at least you need to be left with, are you a decent human being? And if you don't have structural societal norms on you, are you still a decent human being?
Missy has a good system. She brings those glow-in-the-dark bracelets and necklaces, and we put the red ones on anyone who's drunk. We tag the drunk so we know who to keep an eye on.
Oh, is that why you're throwing red circles on
That's
me?
why I was
Okay.
giving you. Yeah, I gave you a
I
necklace.
was not anywhere close.
But it's good fun, but we have such a good group of people in the crew who come each year, and everyone contributes in some way. And it might just be being helpful,
Helping to clean up, helping to set up.
or looking out for somebody who's not doing well, or who needs something, or we need some lighter fluid to make the fire bigger,
Good whiskey guy, Eric.
or
Got
we
that.
need Merlot to give to a kid. Somebody will provide.
Mhm.
So vintage days in the bag. Every year I have such an amazing time. And for any of the people who think about coming, because we ran into some people afterwards, like, oh, I didn't want to. I know you guys say come out and say hi, but I didn't want to. No, come on out. Show up on the fence line. You'll find our camp. We'll make you fit. We'll fit you in. Come be a part, because there's room for everyone. And we like our people. And if you are a misfit you are our people.
I have new respect for scooters after hanging out with the Cleveland Moto Crew. Definitely new respect for scooters and a lot. I actually honestly have a lot more confidence on the gravel and mud and big rocks and stuff after having, because the good bathrooms were on the other side of the gravel and rocks and big, and muddy pits. So I had to get on a scooter because I didn't want to risk my bike on that. So, one of the communal scooters to get to the good bathrooms on the other side of the place. And so doing that. So I've definitely new respect for the stability of some scooters, the Black Cat, even though I took the Honda Elite on the history lap. That was
the not a
fun.
race.
Yeah.
Okay. Listeners know every year I do the not a race. And the goal is you start at the back and you got to make your way to the front. But you can't pass a marshal. That's the rule. I didn't know how many laps they were going to do. And by the second lap on my Benelli, I had made it to the front. Brent was up there on his Africa Twin. I got right up alongside him. He was right behind the marshal. I tapped his arm as proof. I'm like, it's me. He thought it was you.
No.
Because he didn't know who was in the helmet.
Yeah.
Because afterwards he's like, hey, I didn't see you up there. What do you mean I smacked you? He goes, that was you? Yes. But that was second lap. And then I started losing momentum to some of the big bikes. But I hung up at the front. I made a new rule because I get to make the rules in the not a race. You now have to start at the back. And if you're on a small bike, you have to pass everyone with a milk crate, which there was one on the front line. So that was already going to be hard. You have to pass anything with a pull start and any Honda Helix. Because this was the year of the Helix. Did you notice that, Wendy?
No.
Helix is everywhere. Helix I don't know. Wendy, you want to give any favorite stories or plugs?
My favorite part, other than obviously the not a ramp with the fire, I saw my up the butt bike.
You did, yes. On the last day.
Our way out the door, if Phil was not already gone, I would be the proud owner of an overpriced GTS Yamaha. Yes. But Liza and Rose are like, okay, ready to roll. And I'm like, whoop. Immediately, two bikes down the road, and I'm squealing as, to be fair, I did let you guys know if you're going to be in my helmet, I will make loud noises forgetting you're there. And at other points, I will be walking around gas stations quietly whispering to myself, forgetting that comms are muted. But I was so stoked to see it. And it was so ugly, really disagreeable condition. But I was like, there it was in the wild. One of the two bikes I said, if I ever found for sale, I'd find a way to make it mine. I had no way to get it home, which is good. It's probably for the best. But
you almost bought another FJR.
I almost bought another FJR, like on the first day, like FJR. Thursday. People kept coming back saying, "There's an FJR on the swap meet."
In the swap meet,
see that $1,500. By the end of the day, Thursday or getting into Friday, it was like $600. Then Saturday, it was $300, and I'm like, okay. At this point, I almost just am obligated to take it home. I could get more than
17,000 miles and runs.
I could get no, it didn't run, but it cranked.
He said it ran, but it needed a new water pump,
and it had no title. But I'm like, there's far more than $300 worth of parts on that bike.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I need another FJR, like I need a hole in the head. But I figure I'll ask Phil. I'll make him be the voice of reason. No, he was not the voice of reason. Yeah. I'll do anything for you. So he got back to me. I ran up to the swap meet, and they had just sold the bike for $150.
Oh.
So I said, man, what are you going to do? And they said, the guy, as he rolled it away, you could see the realization in his eyes, the horrible mistake he had made. I said, yeah, I'm fine with it. I don't need it, but I would have, if I had $5,000 in my pocket, I would have found a way to get that GTS home.
The GTS single-sided swing arm on the front wheel.
Yep.
Yeah.
So cool.
Interesting bike. Lots of really cool bikes there. So much fun, but really it's the people I enjoy. So big thanks to all the listeners who came and found us, who came
Yeah.
out to our presentation, who came and said hi. There were many of them. And I love it.
Carrie?
Yeah,
Dayton,
Carrie, yeah.
Dayton, Ohio. Dayton. She teaches Pro Dayton, I think it's called.
Yep.
She teaches riding.
And everyone wearing my t-shirts. I love it. Love it.
The number of people who I encountered lingering at the outskirts of the camp that were shocked that we were excited to talk to them about our goofy bike setups. I'm like, legitimately, that's why we're here, is to talk about motorcycles. Come on in.
Yeah.
So, and then they'd invite their friends in. She didn't bite. She said, it's okay. Come in, look at this.
Nelson, who bought a Moto Guzzi, I think that weekend.
Yeah, so many. But thanks again to AMA, to Phil, to you, Wendy, for getting me through and getting me a world record.
Thanks for hanging in there. Every day, Liza's like, this isn't fun. I'm not having fun. But she didn't quit.
It was work.
It was
work.
If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. But now, thank you to James and the guys at Atlas. You've got your world record.
I have a certificate to hang on the wall.
Yep.
And thank you, Rose, for sticking with us.
11,852 miles. That's what I did.
But we're not done yet.
Nope. Still got to make it back to California.
So we have a rally that is starting tomorrow that we are attending here in Athens, the Athena rally. And then we're going to ride cross country to Sturgis. I'm keeping an open mind.
It will be chaos.
Here's what I'm realizing about Sturgis. The things that I don't like about it are going to exist. But the things that I do like, that all these separate tiny little events. Marilyn already sent me a message from the museum.
Marilyn Stemp.
Yeah. And I realized, oh, it's not just one big thing that's all the same. Like what we tell people with Pakistan. It's a bunch of different things happening in different places and different people. And I just have to find the right places to be, which I think I'm going to. We've got to line up places we're going to be and speaking. So
we've got some great stuff going on. It is amusing until you experience it. I mean, very similar to Vintage Motorcycle Days. We have now in the Black Hills, Vintage Rides has a fleet of 10 Royal Enfield Himalayan 450s for rent. And so we're working on spreading the word. It's a pretty new endeavor in the Black Hills. And this morning I got a message. I have a great idea. Why don't you go see if you can put one of the Himalayans in the window of like the Full Throttle Saloon? So this morning, here's me trying to find videos of the utter chaos that is downtown Sturgis. Like, there's no such thing as just sticking a Himalayan in the window of the Full Throttle. Like, you truly have to just experience it to understand just the level. It nearly doubles the number of people in the state.
yeah.
Like, that's how big it is.
Not just
In the
town,
state. It's a town of 7,000 people the rest of the year.
So we'll get through that. And then we still have to get home to California.
Yeah.
But so our adventure's not done yet. We still have weeks to get home. But this is where I say thanks to all the listeners for sticking with us. Thank you for sticking with this show. I know that the gang just did a live show from the studio last weekend. And now you're getting an update from me. And then I'm going to be back in a few weeks and we're going to be back. Emma's going to be back. Jim will be back. We're getting the band back together.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue. But thank you especially to our Patreon supporters for keeping me going. You're the ones who are helping me make this crazy life possible. So thank you to everyone. And thanks to all of the Misfits for holding down the garage for this entire summer that I'm gone. I think it's been open every weekend. I haven't got any reports, so I think they're doing good. But just remember, you can always go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com. You can find the links to where we're going to be, where we've been, but you can also buy a t-shirt. So for those who have bought t-shirts while I've been gone, thank you so much for your patience. I will be shipping mid-August once I get home, because I'll be home for a few days before I have to turn around and go to Bonneville. So that's just a reminder. If you want to come to the Bonneville Motorcycle Speed Trials, so at the end of August, I will be hosting the spectator tent, which means come on out, buy a spectator pass, show up, and I will be there to give you a place to sit, tell you how it all works, introduce you to people, tell you stories, and walk you around and make it a true experience, rather than just sitting like, I don't know who any of these people are, what's going on. So that's it. Time to wrap up. Send us an email at motorcyclesandmisfits@gmail.com. We want to hear what crazy things you guys have been up to. But on that note, time to get out of here. Thanks, everyone. This is Liza.
This is Wendy.
And Rose, Dame Rose.
And we are out of here.
Cool.